Oh, hello. Welcome back to PopCon. A salute to all pop culture, but mostly the 80s. What's more 80s than cold cereal and Saturday morning cartoons? I'm your host, Victor, and today I'm filling your bowl with part one of the most epic breakfast cereals made famous in the 1980s. If cereal was a yearbook, these would be the superlatives. So let's dig to the bottom and see what kind of prize we can find. For most reliable, this old sea captain has been helming the sweet selection since 1963 when his corn and oats set sail. He's fought the Soggies and befriended Smedley the elephant for his peanut butter crunch, PopCon's personal favorite. Although Crunch originally captained without his berries, they should have also come with a warning for the pain and suffering they cause the roof of your mouth. The berries are the only way we like them, and let's face it, berries should always accompany the hard main attraction. The captain isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and we can rest better knowing that. And for most memorable catchphrase, it's not much, but we all know Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Not just the names of the little elves, but for the sound our toasted rice cereal has made since 1928. Who didn't put their ear to their bowl like a shell to the ocean and hope they heard breakfast talking to them? It talked to us all a little differently, didn't it? And the way things are going in this world, now I'm a little worried about what they're telling kids today.
What's it say?
Your mother sews socks that smell.
Well, you have to give them extra credit for the inception of the anytime favorite marshmallow treat that bears its name.
Sounds good.
But it is the Snap, Crackle, and Pop that continues to ring in the ears of future generations because our elfish friends continue to make mornings loud. We all know them, but did you know that they've been around since 1894? Even with their longevity, they are the most likely to be ignored. They are not the first cereal we think fondly of, although going strong and in true Gen X fashion, pouring copious amounts of sugar helped make these bearable when you had to have them. No matter the promotions or how they tried to cutesify that rooster, seeing its familiar visage on the kitchen table kind of brought you down. And now for most fickle. I remember a cowboy at some point as the mascot. Do you? If you do, you would be right, but not before the original mascot, the one and only Woody Woodpecker. Then a Corn Pops Pete the Prairie Dog, before Whippersnapper, and then Big Yellow the Cowboy, both live action and cartoon. Sugar Corn Pops, crunchy, sweet, and popped up corn, arrived on the scene in 1950. This is the first of many who would need to shed their sugar in the title in the mid-80s. But it is the sheer amount of mascots that make this brand not sure, well, how to brand. Not only have they given up on all their brand mascots today, they are also off the shelf as of the end of 2022. For having the best human mascot, it may be a late entry, having debuted in 1989.
Hey, everybody.
But it still counts for our list, and has consistently grabbed attention with the factory worker, Diana Hunter. She recently came out of retirement to do a recent commercial. She is familiar like an old friend, and the cereal is, well, just good. And for most changed, we fell in love with the Three Little Chefs when they debuted in 1984, but perhaps that was just too expensive to draw. In the 90s, we saw two of them let go for cost cutting, and then the last one was put out to pasture or retired when they brought in the cannibal pieces of cinnamon toast. Off-putting at first, they have become familiar, even with their ridiculous eating of each other. They may be hard to spot now, but you can dig those crazy squares on the cover of the box today. Alright, one of my favorites, most indecisive. This story has so many rewrites it feels like a Hollywood blockbuster. At least the star, Sugar Bear, has been the most consistent, as he has remained their brand spokesperson from the very beginning. Although a little more realistic and cute, it wasn't the evolution of the bear that catches the award, it's the amount of name changes. As with so many others, Sugar needed to get axed, at least in the title, but not before it became Super Sugar Crisp. If you're trying to ignore the mounds of sugar consumed in a serving, this name didn't do it. So quickly they were turned to Super Golden Crisp, and the bear followed suit, not just in design, but this time, even in superpowers. And although, like Donald Duck, he never wore pants and nobody gave it a second thought, in this incarnation, he forego his shirt too and just, well, was naked.
Oh yeah.
It was time to simplify, and Sugar Bear, or SB now, retains a blue top and gave up the steroids to be the forever face for the puffed wheat now just called Golden Crisp, just like he's been since 1948. For best theme song, Honeycomb. I wanted to be part of the Honeycomb gang desperately when I was a kid, and you could for years with a promotion that ran with the cereal. Joining the club made you feel extra special, and you got a real membership card sent to you in the mail. Honey-flavored corn cereal bits in a honeycomb shape began in 1965, and like Cap'n Crunch, you might need triage for the roof of your mouth. These things were big, and that was part of the catchy tune that the gang would sing in each commercial.
Honeycomb's big. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not small. No, no, no. Honeycomb's got a big, big bite. Big, big taste and a big, big bite.
Right.
This group of kid mascot strategy worked in the 80s after some short-lived alternatives. It was one of the few cereals with a theme jingle you wanted to sing along with. But even with the addition of a robot showing off his angry inch, this wouldn't last, and the insanity of the 90s brought crazy cravings and the disturbing ball of fur mascot until the death of any character branding at all, where it exists today. Flatter, but still an inch. Wait, we've got 4 more awards to give. But have I mentioned any of your favorite cereals growing up? Let me know what was your favorite and why in the comments. You know, these guys promised us sugary goodness and sometimes a fantastic prize you fought your siblings for. And then sometimes you had to settle for the not so interesting offerings that were still staples of the era. Now listen, wait, before we get any further, please subscribe to my channel for great 80s content and show me a little love by clicking the like. Thanks. All right, now back to the awards. Best Spin-Off. Cocoa Puffs. Not talking a version or special limited release of a cereal, but truly taking from an original and just giving it a makeover that stood the test of time. Kix is the general non-sugary version of this cereal, and it did not forge ahead with a cartoon mascot and instead used sports and activity to sell the product. However, they weren't dumb and slapped some choco flavoring on it in 1956 and added a cuckoo bird named Sunny to the package in 62. The cuckoo was originally joined by Gramps, who would refer to his grandson as Sunny, so it may or may not necessarily be his real name. Gone is his cool 1920s inspired red striped shirt for some modern threads. He still is the guy credited for this entry into our current pop culture lexicon. That's right, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. What about you? Crispy Wheats and Raisins, voted most likely to go missing, is fondly remembered by those who remember it. This crunchy take on Raisin Bran was delicious since debuting in 1980 and for a time marketed by none other than the Wizard of Oz characters. At least I think that's who they are. Other than used for marketing on TV, the cereal did not have a flashy character on the box, but succeeded in being a Raisin Bran that stayed crispy, never soggy. Perhaps the market was flooded, because just in the 90s, this favorite was discontinued. Rest in peace, Crispy Wheats and Raisins. Well, you knew he'd come up at some point, and yes, he is most popular. Frosted Flakes. It wasn't safe to have sugar in your title in the mid-80s, and Frosted Flakes didn't waste a moment dropping the first of their 3-word name, sugar. Now, sugar may have been a dirty word, but Frosted seems to imply something completely different. But it isn't just the name, but it's the face since 1952 that we fell in love with. Tony the Tiger is so revered and looked at with respect, he has passed the test of time and grew with cultural changes, offering a variety of flavors and what the hell, banana? Oh, no. Alright, moving on, even with a cereal that totally fails in the soggy department, this strong tiger character is not just winning with longevity and with his often quoted tagline, but his personality and of course that voice, originally by the Haunted Mansion ghost host himself, Thurl Ravenscroft. This brings it all together. Now, not just familiar, but truly a part of the family.
They're great!
And finally, for our Lifetime Achievement Award, this goes to a cereal that is the oldest cereal brand based on characters from a TV series or movie that is still sold today. A secondary and failing cereal product was pulled, and an ingenious decision was made. But both Fruity and Cocoa Pebbles have been around since 1971 and used this famous first family of animation to market it successfully. They had been shilling Winston cigarettes successfully, so why not aim at kids? I mean, cigarettes were. And for a product that is basically selling you rocks to eat, way to go, Post. They not only had memorable animated commercials, but just kept the Flintstones alive. Well, this and those vitamins. Some of their Christmas commercials were the highlights. The only mascot not created for the cereal, but a cereal that was created with licensing and theming to an existing brand of characters. Pebbles lasted longer than the 1 year it was predicted to being just a short fad. It would be criminal not to mention that the product we are eating is named after Fred's daughter Pebbles, and that seems a little bit taboo. Don't even get me started on the conspiracy theory regarding the last minute of this cartoon either. That's for another show. But no, there is no stopping this fruity and chocolatey rice breakfast bowl. Oh, the 80s had no shortage of cereal tie-ins to pop culture. Just wait for that episode on PopCon. Yabba dabba do indeed. Well, sadly, most of these brands have stopped marketing to kids altogether on TV, but keep a lot of the smiling faces that kept us company on the cereal box. I mean, the folks like Corn Pops and Honeycombs have completely gone away from any sort of corporate mascot or any sort of fun, basically wanting to go for bland representation, but whatever. Well, check back for part 2. This is just the frosting on top of your puffed rice of some of the greatest cereals that stood the test of time. Well, most of them. Anyway, glad you were here. Please come back soon. Check out PopCon. Until next time.
Let's go disco.
Disco's there.
Let's go disco.
Disco where?